Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, today in just 5 minutes, we want to find out what's coming up this year in the crypto space, which is not exactly an easy one to forecast, is it? Because it can be just a little bit unpredictable at times.
Sure can, but Bitcoin investors had a better year of it than last year after the currency made a pretty spectacular recovery. Remember, this is general information only, and you should get professional advice before making any investment decision. Josh Gilbert is a market analyst at social investment network eToro. Josh, how would you describe 2023 in the crypto space?
I think it was a great year. So I think maybe coming into this, we could have said that crypto is going to sort of steal the limelight in sort of 2024. But I think it did that at the end of 2023. Sort of came back with a vengeance, had a huge return. And I think that performance that we had from Bitcoin in 2023 is a really nice reminder that it has a place in a diversified investment portfolio. Whatever time horizon you look at, risk-adjusted returns for Bitcoin are sort of dramatically higher than any other asset class. And I think that's really important to remember. Obviously, we had a terrible year in 2022, but really that was nothing to do with sort of crypto and Bitcoin itself particularly, right? It was sort of the outside, the black swan events outside of that. If anything, we made sort of, technological advancements. We had upgrades that happened across the Bitcoin network and other crypto assets as well. So I think that allowed crypto assets to shine into this year. But also the outperformance comes from it being sort of a heavily depressed asset class, that coming from obviously 2022. And I think less bad news obviously went a long way, coming into 2023.
Okay. Now, it was particularly impressive given the collapse of things like FTX and some of the high-profile legal issues of some of the US guys. Are investors still wary, or do you think we're there through that?
I definitely think there's some skepticism, absolutely, given that, what we've seen over the last sort of couple of years. But I think a lot can be changed with an ETF acceptance this year. So ultimately, we're looking towards what could be the first ever US spot Bitcoin ETF approved by the SEC. And I think that goes a really long way as a bit of a tip of the hat from sort of US regulators to crypto assets, and particularly Bitcoin, when previously they haven't looked so favorably on this asset. Basically an ETF will give sort of money managers, traditional finance, a way to sort of buy Bitcoin with greater ease, thanks to sort of an ETF. It's a simple way to be able to purchase it, essentially a bridge from traditional finance to sort of Bitcoin. And I think, Bitcoin ETFs are a good way for crypto to ultimately help in terms of wide scale adoption. So yes, there are still some of those sort of lingering issues, but I think 2024 could be the year when we start to sort of see some of those sort of flattened out and some of those issues squashed.
Okay, so let's talk about the next 12 months or so. Assuming there is a spot ETF available and someone like BlackRock launches one, which obviously gives it an enormous amount of credibility, do you think it'll be a good year for Bitcoin firstly, but cryptos generally?
I think so. So obviously that is probably the first catalyst that we see on the horizon sort of this year. That sort of spot ETF, I think, has been really what helped performance in 2023. And obviously saw some of those huge gains that we had. As I say, we're opening the door there to trillions of dollars of institutional capital that I believe that Bitcoin and crypto more broadly has sort of really longed for. On top of that, though, we see a number of other catalysts. We have, what is an improving macro environment. We had that sort of dovish pivot from the Federal Reserve at the end of 2023. Obviously, markets are now pricing rate cuts as early as sort of March. That may be slightly optimistic in our view, but markets believe that we're going to see at least 4 or 5 rate cuts next year, which is obviously a big boost for risk assets. And investors, we believe, are sort of positioning for what is ahead. We have a Bitcoin halving as well that's sort of penned for April 2024. Every Bitcoin halving that we've had in sort of history has seen sort of a bull run from Bitcoin. So although history doesn't repeat itself, it often does rhyme. And then on top of that, we have new global banking and corporate accounting regulations being implemented this year, which will make it easier to own crypto. We have countries that are becoming more pro-crypto, such as, sort of what we've seen in Argentina recently as well. So I think all of that sort of, together sets up another strong year for Bitcoin and crypto more broadly in 2024.
Josh, thanks for being part of Fear and Greed Summer.
Thanks very much.
That was Josh Gilbert, market analyst at social investment network eToro. There you go, Michael. I know you have always followed cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin. It's the easiest one to follow. According to Josh, could be a good year, 2024, for Bitcoin.
Well, I just love the fact that Josh mentioned that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
It only rhymes.
I reckon he's the first person to quote Mark Twain on Fear and Greed, and just to do it so naturally. Like, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I've got to say, I didn't even realise it's Mark Twain. Nice pick up on that, Michael. I was going to put that one down I was going to give that one totally to Josh Gilbert.
I'm a very fast Googler, Sean.
I see.
Look, thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
And remember, this is general information only, and you should seek professional advice before making investment decisions. That's it for today. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. A new episode every day and regular business news from January 15. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed.